Three, two, one.
Welcome, everyone, to Miami's Cop Talk, the new show that bridges the gap between information and disinformation. Uh, I'm one of your hosts, Robert Asensio. I'm sitting here with Raul Correa, who will introduce our next guest. I think we're going to have a lively conversation. I really look forward to this segment. But before I start, I want to wish everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day. So, Raul, want to take it away?
Thank you, Robert. And today we have on Miami Cop Talk a supporter of the program, a supporter of the show. He's a huge influence in our community. He's a great man of God. The executive director of Share Your Heart, Victory for Youth, a program that I know very well. I've sat on the board and helped initiate a lot of the programs and initiatives that they do on Share Your Heart. We have Executive Director Roly Gonzalez on the show with us. Welcome, Roly.
Welcome. God bless everyone today. Thank you, Raul. Thank you, Robert, for being here. I'm so excited about the program of some of the ones that I've already seen and the communication between, our law enforcement and our community. Like John was here a couple of minutes ago. So it's very interesting that we needed something like this, to the community, basically.
Outstanding. Welcome, John. But by the way, Roly, you're not only a supporter, but you're a sponsor of this show. And when Raul mentioned about you bringing you on as a co-sponsor of the show to promote, this bridge of information that we want to put out there, I couldn't think of a better partner because, man, what you're doing out there in the community, you're a first responder on the civilian side. You help people in need. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do at Share Your Heart and what that's all about?
Well, it started about after the 1999, the year 2010, basically, right after we had just done a major event in Dade County. The Department of Children and Family was in a crisis at that time. So they asked us to, how could we help, the investigators, the child protector investigators, because we were getting from 30 calls a day to 70 calls a day. If you remember, in 2010, we had a little depression, a lot of people with foreclosures.
Of course.
So we had a lot of families and other parents with, issues with their children. And so we created a chaplaincy program. Basically, we had to call it a name. So what we did is they asked for the faith community if I could help. And so what we did is in some of these departments where they would bring the child as an investigation, we created some type of a food pantry so that way that the investigation didn't take longer, because when they would go and pick up the children that were neglected, abandoned, or abused to the investigation, this will cut time of the investigator at this point. So by having, spaghetti already, mac and cheese, so that way the child could be placed in a foster or moved, until the parents got their act together. So that's how this whole thing started.
So you started as a food pantry, a way to help the community?
No, actually, I started at the Domestic Violence and Human Trafficking Office of right here in 2400 South Dixie Highway, which is the county's Domestic Violence and Human Trafficking. So we started there with a boutique, and we decided that we had the mothers that were in need. So the food came because they needed, immediate food, while we as Share Your Heart also too make sure that they have food stamps. In other words, we get them back into a stabilized system, that they need to be. Some of them could be a domestic violence that was a mother that, never went to work, or, she was a housewife. And all of a sudden she sees herself with a major domestic violence, and then she couldn't do anything, she doesn't know how to work. So through our vocational rehabilitation program, we give them jobs, so it's a whole wraparound. But the main need right now in our county is the food, clothing for the children, because sometimes or a human trafficker, they come with nothing, so we have to reestablish them with clothes, and then make sure that we stabilize them with a job, et cetera, et cetera.
Roly, when I first met you a few years back, and we ended up having some individuals that we both knew. My wife ended up knowing your wife. It was I think a God thing, and we've been involved in some of our projects together. But I know that your histories with the CPI, the Child Protective Investigators,
Correct.
they needed assistance, and they needed, diapers and food and baby food, and you stepped up. I'm looking at some of the numbers here. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this correct? You have like over 400,000 pounds of food that you distributed to the community, especially with the COVID and the food lines and whatnot. I know you have a partnership with Farm Share. So over 400,000 pounds of food last year. Over 20,000 households were served with their needs. And like you mentioned, you have a boutique, 2400 South Dixie Highway in Miami, the CVAC, which is the Coordinated Victims Assistance. You give out bags of food to people in need, roughly a 20-pound bag of food. And from what I'm gathering, because I know we've spoken offline, you've been involved with FEMA. You've been involved in crisis management and involved in helping people with CERT. And I know we had Hapsi Kaba on the show a few weeks ago. You are there on the front lines helping people when they're going through mental health and crisis. Especially, I know you were there involved when the FIU bridge collapsed. You were there helping out. Tell us a little bit about what you do beyond just the food.
Well, as a man of God, that's how I was presented when the state came and said, hey, we need a man of God, because the faith community plays a major role in our communities. Correct. Whether you're Jewish, you're Presbyterian, or Catholic, we all are a major part, because this is where everybody congregates. Correct. So in our congregation, the beautiful thing is you got nurses, you got doctors, you got police officers. So, the faith community, and of course, our government understands. So it was just a perfect timing that I was allowed to have what we call favor with government. The government needed to understand that how much of a role does the faith community plays. And so in that particular scenario was the beginning of a relationship from the federal side and also the state side.
You've been to the White House.
Yes. And the key was that we had trained with emergency management in the county. So we've collective have all the partners in place. And that's why we're so informed, because, I work with emergency management. I work, and the good thing is that Miami-Dade County is a county that like no other county. This particular county allows us, our mayors, our commissioners, are so involved in our community that's where the role plays, and allows a faith community or the faith to be a part of what the interesting part is, that now we are not only that, but we wear the logo of the state, when we go to a house, because then they recognize that it's not to come and take my kids. Correct. We reversed the whole role about what a child protected investigator was, the negative. Same thing happened with the school board, that we have a memorandum. We get referrals on a daily basis from a mother that is in need in a school. And you were a major part of that. And, our chief, Lopez and the district, allowing that when the chaplains are good and ready. But remember, we had to be also organized. In other words, the state and the county understands that our chaplains or whoever is doing the job needs to be background checked. They need to be somebody that, is wearing the logo, because they're representing just like if it was DCF or the school district. So that's been the positive stuff. We're not a food distributor, even though we just finished doing Tallahassee, and we just finished doing the South, the West Coast of Florida. We did Orlando last weekend. We did over 6,000 households. But we have done that is because we already have the community centers that we already have established with food. What didn't make any sense to me for years is that a family is going to go to a community center. So you're talking about Fort Lauderdale City, you're looking at Liberty City, or you're looking at Hialeah. And they will go there because they need to get an application for food stamps. But they needed food. So imagine you go, you got an application, but you leave empty again.
Yeah.
So, or they would tell you, oh, you need to go to so and so 3 miles or 5 miles, so it's not right, So here now they get a bag of food, they get chicken, and then they leave with something.
So for those of you that are just joining us, we're speaking to Roly Gonzalez, the Executive Director of Share Your Heart, a wraparound service of helping the community. One of the heroes that we have that help law enforcement, public safety. But look, let's face it. We know that Miami-Dade, there are many needs. We're wrapping up. We have a minute left. And I just want to give it back to you, Roly, for a second, so you to share with our audience where they can get a hold of you. But listen, more importantly, it's for everybody to understand. The people who are in need is not necessarily those people that are never worked, the people that are just lazy. The people in need can be any one of us. Today we're well, life makes some serious changes, throw some obstacles at us, and tomorrow any one of us can be in need, in need. And it's people like Roly and Share Your Heart that are there for us. Roly, you want to let the audience know where they can get a hold of you if they need to get a hold of you, and what the contact is?
Well, one of the first things is that we are a sponsor of the program, and the main reason it is that it's not only just the citizens; it's for law enforcement, any people that are veterans or anything. You can call this show, and if you are in a need at this moment for food or anything, please feel free to contact Miami Cop Talk, and we will make sure that we'll get that referral and make sure that within 48 hours you will be able to receive that referral or that help that you need. That would be my main thing for your audience. And then for me, you can call the 786-362-5870, or you can email me at Roly G at shareyourheart.us.
Thank you, Roly. Listen, as we close off, I want to say, you got memos of understanding with the state attorney's office, public defender, major police departments here in Dade County, and you are a qualified man of God that really helps our community. I want to thank you. And his link is on our website, miamicoptalk.com. Robert, you want to close us out?
Man, I can't think of a better way to close it out than to say thank you, Roly.
Oh,
For all those who have not been able to say thank you, I thank you. For all of you, have a great day. Look forward to seeing you on the next show. Stay strong, stay safe. Tune into Miami Cop Talk. Thank you.